March 6, 1944, 12:15 p.m. 24,000 feet above the outskirts of Berlin. The air inside the cockpit of the Messerschmitt Bf 109 is freezing, a sub-zero coffin rattling at 300 miles per hour. Below you, the cloud cover breaks just enough to reveal the sprawling gray geometry of the German capital. Above you, the sky is stained with the exhaust trails of over 600 American B-17 flying fortresses. To the pilots of Jagdgeschwader 1, Hitler's premier defense wing, this sight is terrifying, but it is also routine. They know the rhythm of the dance. They know the American playbook. For 2 years, the Luftwaffe has operated on a simple, comforting mathematical certainty: fuel. They know the heavy American fighters, the P-47 Thunderbolts and P-38 Lightnings, are gas-guzzling beasts. They can escort the bombers across the channel, maybe as far as the Rhine, but then the red warning lights flash on their instrument panels. They have to turn back. They always turn back. It is called the leash. And the moment those American fighters peel off for England, the B-17s become helpless prey. Luftwaffe commander Hermann Göring had staked his reputation on this. He famously laughed, telling the German public, "If an enemy plane reaches the Ruhr, my name is not Göring. You can call me Meyer." The idea of Allied fighters screaming over the Reichstag was considered impossible, a fantasy. So, the German pilots wait. They circle in the sun, watching the American formation, checking their watches. They are predators, waiting for the shepherd to leave the sheep. Minutes pass. The formation pushes deeper into Germany, past Hanover, past Brunswick. Any second now, the American fighters will bank left and head home. But they don't. Instead, a flight of silver silhouettes dives from the high cover. They aren't turning back. They are dropping external fuel tanks, shiny aluminum pods tumbling through the air and accelerating. A young German pilot squints against the glare. These planes don't have the bulky radial engine of a Thunderbolt. They're slim, aerodynamic, and they are moving faster than anything the Luftwaffe has ever seen at this altitude. For the first time in the war, the hunters realize they are being hunted in their own backyard. The leash has been cut. The radio chatter inside the German headsets shifts instantly from coordinated precision to frantic confusion. Achtung! Indians at 12 o'clock SI! Fast! Too fast! Before the German flight leaders can bark a counter-command, the silver shapes are upon them. These aren't just erratic raiders, they are P-51 Mustangs, powered by the legendary Packard Merlin engine, and they are tearing through the thin air at altitude with a ferocity the Luftwaffe has never encountered. A flight of FW-190s, heavy with armor and cannons designed to smash the B-17 bombers, tries to break formation to engage. It is a fatal mistake. The FW-190 is a butcher bird against bombers, but against the Mustang at 25,000 feet, it is sluggish. You can hear the distinct, high-pitched whine of the Mustang engine screaming past, a sound that will haunt the nightmares of German survivors for the rest of the war. 4.5 caliber machine guns in each wing erupt, shredding the aluminum skin of the lead German fighter. It disintegrates in a ball of orange flame and black oil, debris clattering off the canopy of his wingman. Standard Luftwaffe doctrine kicks in: dive. For years, this was the ace up the German sleeve. Against the British Spitfire, a steep, high-speed dive was the get-out-of-jail-free card. The Spitfire's float carburetor would cut out under negative Gs, and the P-47 Thunderbolt, while fast, was a heavy bathtub that took time to accelerate. A veteran Oberlieutenant pushes his stick forward, plunging his MiG-109 towards the safety of the heavy cloud layer below. The G-forces crush him into his seat, blood pooling in his legs, vision graying out.
He checks his rearview mirror, expecting to see empty sky. His heart stops. The silver demon is still there. And it's getting closer. The Mustang, aerodynamic and incredibly heavy, gathers speed in a dive like a falling anvil. It doesn't shake, it doesn't stall, it simply hunts. The American pilot sends a stream of tracers over the canopy of the German, forcing him to brake left, bleeding his energy. There is no escape. Not up, where the Mustang's laminar flow wings give it superior lift. Not down, where its weight gives it terminal velocity. High above the burning fighter, the commander of the German fighter arm, General Adolf Galland, is in the air himself, witnessing the catastrophe. He watches as the American fighters dismantle his defensive formations piece by piece. The realization hits him with the force of a physical blow. The roof has been blown off Fortress Europe. But the true horror isn't just that the Americans are winning the dogfight. It's what happens next. As the surviving German planes scrambled to land at airfields surrounding Berlin to refuel and rearm, they look up and see the unthinkable. The Mustangs aren't leaving. They are following them down.
12:45 p.m. Luftwaffe Airfield Brandenburg, Brest. For a fighter pilot, landing is the most vulnerable moment of any mission. You were low, you were slow, you were out of fuel and out of ammunition. Your engine is throbbing, your nerves are fried, and your landing gear is down, acting like a massive air brake. In 1940, 1941, and 1942, reaching your home airfield meant safety. It was sanctuary. The war stopped at the edge of the runway. Not anymore. As the surviving MiG-109s line up for their final approach, wheels dropping from their wells, a terrifying shadow sweeps over the tarmac. The Mustangs have followed them home. The American pilots, intoxicated by the chase and realizing they still have fuel to burn, ignore the anti-aircraft flak batteries surrounding the field. They push their throttles forward and drop to treetop level. It turns into a slaughter. A German pilot, exhausted and sweating, flares his aircraft just feet above the concrete. He never touches the ground. A burst of .50 caliber fire catches his fuel tank from behind. The plane doesn't just crash. It cartwheels into a fireball, sliding 200 yards down the runway, leaving a streak of burning aviation fuel that blocks the path for everyone behind him. On the ground, mechanics and ground crews, men who thought the war was happening 5 miles above their heads, dive into ditches. The noise is deafening. The Mustangs roar over the hangars at 350 miles per hour, their propellers chopping the air like industrial fans. They aren't just hunting planes in the air anymore. They are strafing parked aircraft. They are shooting up fuel trucks. They are turning the Luftwaffe's own bases into graveyards. General Galland, having landed just minutes before the attack, reportedly flings his cigar to the ground in disgust. He knows what this means. The numbers confirm the disaster. In just a few weeks of these deep penetration escort missions, the Luftwaffe will lose over 800 pilots. But it's not just the mettle in the men they are losing. They are losing the will to fight. How do you scramble to intercept a bomber fleet when you know you'll be shot down before your wheels even leave the tarmac? How do you train new cadets when the enemy is circling your flight school? As the smoke rises from the airfields around Berlin, the German High Command is forced to confront a brutal reality. The buffer zone is gone. The Atlantic Wall is useless if the roof is wide open. And in a bunker deep beneath Berlin, Hermann Göring, the man who promised no enemy bomb would ever fall on the Ruhr, receives a report that makes his blood run cold. He looks at the maps, sees the range circles of the P-51s extending all the way to Poland, and finally understands the magnitude of the catastrophe. The Americans haven't just arrived, they have bought a permanent residence in the German sky. And they are about to turn the capital of the 1,000-year Reich into a ruin. Evening, March 6th, 1944. The officers' mess, JG-1. The roar of engines has finally faded, replaced by a heavy, suffocating silence. In the mess halls of the German fighter wings, the waiters bring out soup and bread, but tonight they are setting fewer places. The tables are full of gaps. This is the grim reality that the P-51 Mustang imposed on Germany. It wasn't just about shooting down planes. It was about bleeding the Luftwaffe white. Germany could build more fighters. In fact, German factories would produce more aircraft in 1944 than in any previous year of the war. But a fighter plane without a pilot is just a pile of aluminum and wire. The men who didn't come back today weren't just soldiers. They were Experten, aces with years of experience. Men who had learned their trade over the skies of France, Britain, and Russia. They were the repository of the Luftwaffe's institutional memory, and the Mustangs were killing them faster than Germany could replace them. Across the table, a veteran flight leader looks at the empty chair where his wingman sat this morning. Then he looks at the replacements arriving at the door. They are mere boys, 19, 20 years old, with barely enough flight hours to keep the plane steady, let alone fight a P-51 at 30,000 feet. The veteran knows the truth. These boys are already dead. The P-51 changed the mathematics of survival. Before the Mustang, a German pilot could choose when to fight. If the odds were bad, he could dive away, land, refuel, and live to fight another day. But with Mustangs loitering over the airfields, there is no safe time. You fight when you take off. You fight when your mission is done. You fight when you try to land. The exhaustion is total. While American pilots fly a set number of missions and then rotate home to sell war bonds and train rookies, the German pilots fly until they are wounded, captured, or killed. There is no rotation. There is only the end. This psychological weight breaks the back of the Luftwaffe. The aggressive spirit that defined the German air arm in the Blitzkrieg years evaporates, replaced by a desperate, fatalistic instinct for self-preservation. High above, the sky is clearing. The Americans have gone home for the night, but everyone in that mess hall knows they will be back tomorrow, and there will be more of them. Spring 1944, the skies over the Reich. While the German pilots were fighting for their lives, a massive strategic trap had quietly snapped shut around them. For years, the Luftwaffe's primary mission was to shoot down the bombers to save German cities. But General Jimmy Doolittle, the new commander of the U.S. 8th Air Force, had changed the rules. Upon seeing the capabilities of the P-51, he issued a command that went against every previous military doctrine. He ordered his Mustang pilots to stop flying close formation with the bombers. "Go find them," Doolittle ordered, "and kill them." The B-17s were no longer just bombers. They were bait. Their job was to fly over Germany and force the Luftwaffe to come up and fight. And the moment the German fighters appeared, the roaming packs of Mustangs, freed from the leash, would dive down and annihilate them. It was a war of attrition, cold and calculated. The Americans could replace a Mustang in 4 days. They could train a pilot in 6 months. Germany could do neither. The impact was felt almost instantly on the ground. With the Luftwaffe decimated and stripped of its veterans, the Allied bombers were free to systematically dismantle the German war machine. Synthetic oil plants, ball bearing factories, rail yards, all were pounded into dust. In the final months of the war, new German jet fighters like the Me-262 would appear.
They were faster, deadlier, and technically superior to anything the Allies had. But it didn't matter. When the jets taxied out to the runway, Mustangs were waiting in the clouds to strafe them. When the jets needed fuel, the tankers had been destroyed by Mustangs roaming the supply lines. The P-51 had strangled the German capacity to fight before the technological wonders could even take off.
Post-war interrogation room, 1945. After the collapse of the Third Reich, Hermann Göring was captured by American forces. The man who had worn flashy white uniforms and boasted that he owned the skies was now a prisoner, stripped of his medals and his power. When asked by Allied interrogators to pinpoint the exact moment he knew Germany had lost the war, he didn't point to D-Day. He didn't point to Stalingrad. He didn't point to the Battle of the Bulge. He looked at his captors and said simply, "When I saw Mustangs over Berlin, I knew the jig was up." The P-51 Mustang didn't just escort bombers. It broke the psychological spine of the Luftwaffe. It turned the hunter into the hunted, transforming the skies over Europe from a contested battlefield into an American highway. For the German aces who looked up on that cold March day in 1944 and saw the silver wings glinting in the sun, the message was clear. The barrier was gone. The distance was closed. And the end was no longer a question of if, but when.